it's way out in the field now where the wind got it. So I don't know. I can't pick it up. You know,
You should put it back on the
put it back
Pontiac.
on that car, that old car.
We'll get it tomorrow.
Okay, county legislature. Don Boyden is not here, but I did talk to Don Boyden, maybe 2 days ago. Sunday night, I called him, and he, because it was a little bit undecided about whether we were going to have an amnesty day or not, and he assured me that they were, and they were getting together tomorrow on Tuesday to determine it, make a public statement. So if you just watch the news after tomorrow night, we should know about the confirmation of the amnesty day.
Jim, just to interrupt, I
Mhm.
will be taking the water sample down here probably in about a week.
Okay,
Done.
good, good.
I went
And-
down and got the new clean bottle here a couple weeks ago.
Okay, and let's see, we have. Okay, so we have an item on here for Amnesty Day. We can talk about it later. Zoning, Jane?
March report, 1 building permit issued, 86 miles traveled, 9 building inspections, 49 hours worked, 1 fire inspection, 11 complaint follow-ups, 38 telephone inquiries. Planning board meeting is April 25th at 7 o'clock. A ZBA meeting is May 3rd at 7:30.
Thanks, Jane. Historian Ann Henderson is not here. Okay,
We collected $232, dispersed $215 to the town of Preble and $17 to New York State egg and markets. Tax collection, we collected $33,648.41 in March.
thank you, Jane. New business, we're going to start out with Rick Fritz. Rick, if you could give us an overview on what you're doing right now with the town of Preble, and talk to us about Ed Bennedy also.
Yeah, we've been working on some unsafe structures, the barns, the one barn at the Route 11 and Baltimore Road there, Homer Baltimore Road. There's a barn that's fallen down. There's also a barn right here by Betty Ann's, Monte Kevin. And then there's a barn on Stager Road, next to you, Jim. There's one. And then David Griswold has one on the other end of Griswold Road there across from Morgan's. And I talked to everybody. The verdict on the one on Route 11 and Homer Baltimore Road, contractors come and they say they're going to do it. Amish come, they say they're going to take the lumber. And that's been going on for several months now. And then the weather stepped in and they have plans of doing as soon as the weather breaks to get that cleaned up. So, and Kevin, I talked to Kevin on one by Betty Ann there.
Kevin Kruger.
Yeah, and he's going to go ahead and get that cleaned up come spring. And he just stopped me today and he thinks about thinking about selling it to Betty Ann. He could sell that piece of property to Betty Ann. So I don't know what the story is there. He promised to have that cleaned up, and he did admit that he spent insurance money that he got to clean it up. So, he's pretty in touch with me, being confident with me. He's doing good. David Griswold, the farmer, he came in and he said you got to get people that have their stuff in that barn, and they'll have that cleaned up this spring as soon as it dries. As soon as he gets people to move out of it, he's going to take it down. The one next to your house there, she's haven't really talked to her, but she's doing the best she can to get that cleaned up. I figured we tried just to work with her a little bit to see what she does with it,
Okay.
rather than take legal action on all these properties. But they're all confiding in me, and they're all talking to me. And as long as that happens, let's just leave it go for now.
Mhm.
The big issue is the Ed Benedy mobile home park. This has been going on for years, and it's getting worse, not getting better. The more the properties that are in there are more cluttered. We have a lot of junk cars. We have a guy running a scrapyard business out of there. We have a guy running a junkyard out of there. We have a hoarder down at the end that just wants to hoard everything in the back of his house there. And the most disgusting thing was that here about a month or so ago, I got a phone call from where the rats were bit a young little girl on the feet. So that's now it's getting pretty bad when we start getting rats running around. These places are mostly rented places, and I know. Is it the right thing to say it's their last resort? But it isn't their last resort. There's a lot of better places where these people can move into, to where the environment is a lot better and nicer. So I have problems when somebody says, "Hey, Rick, you know that's those people's last resort." Well, it's not their last resort. I'd rather just take those people, move them into something nicer. You know, children and women that live in there don't have to be living under those conditions. And the worst thing we want to do is have our children hurt. And when 911 calls me, I get goosebumps about the size of 50-cent pieces. When I got to come out here to a fire or something, and the firemen at the same place. These are rented places. They need to be broom cleaned. They don't own the property. If they own the property, it'd be a little bit different. So we can't go after actually a renter, but I guess it's up to Don. But the big bite is to go after the property owner, which is Ed Benedy. And the 9 years that I'm here, Ed Benedy has been full of a lot of promises. We went round and round with Ed Benedy not too long ago, and he came here to the meeting and just promised you guys the same thing. To get involved with the renters that live in there, I think we should just go after, ask Don to, we need to do the max. I know it's gonna cost us some money, but we need to get these people in a safe environment and conditions. Something's gonna happen there very shortly. It's terrible. They're pushed out into talk to Dave Griswold. He says, Rick, he said, you know, I'm sorry, I don't need to keep
Oh,
on.
that's okay.
He says, Rick, you know, some of those trailers are 4 feet in his field. So there's encroachment there. We also got somebody that's raising an animal there, which is great to give the dog a lot more run, but the dog fence is in the field, in David Griswold's field. So it's just growing. It's just getting more and more and more and more. And it's just out of control. I don't know how to explain it anymore. We went in there last time. We gave him a break. This guy down at the end, I said, okay, he's the maintenance man in there, he says. I said, okay. So we gave him a break and we gave him a little bit of area to work with. I says, don't get out of there. Well, it's twice as bad as it was before we gave him a break. So we give him a little bit, they take the shoulder. And now this guy is just totally out of control. The little girl next door getting bit by a rat. That's
I can't have him.
because of his junk. You got an old rundown shed in there, and the wood fire. He's burning wood in there, wood fire, unprofessional workmanship. That installation that went. He's got all this garbage up against his house, and there's several properties in there that are renting from Ed Benedy that has 2 or 3 junk cars. And when I took over, we went after the Mary Bell Mobile Home Park, and you know, those guys grabbed the bull by the horn, and they cleaned that up pretty nice. But yes, he is a little unhappy because there's a lot of vacant lots in there, but he's also happy that he doesn't have to deal with those people anymore. So, the Maryville mobile home park came a long way. And I think if we set a precedence there, I think it should be followed through with the other two down here.
Thanks, Rick.
You're welcome.
Okay, Don, can you give
Nice
us some,
seeing you all, by the way. too.
Don, can you give us an update on what you're doing on the legal end for this issue?
Yes, Rick and I talked the last week of March, and he described resumption of and the growth of the condition at the end of the park there with Mr. Scott, Robert Michael Scott. So I think you took some pictures, right, Rick? And we sent out an order to remedy on March 28. We sent it to Michael Scott. We also sent it to Ed Benedy. And it basically gives them 30 days to clean up, or we could then bring a proceeding. We don't have to do that under a local law, but to go into the state maintenance code, generally you need to give them a 30-day order to remedy first.
Mm-hmm.
So the time's clicking on that.
Mm-hmm.
We hadn't discussed, I hadn't really thought about any other conditions in the park. Frankly, I drove through there very quickly on the way out here tonight, and there was another place right in that northeast corner that has some accumulation as well. So whether you bring other people into it or not, but junk situations are just they're very difficult, because you really can end up feeling, quite honestly, an expenditure of funds with no great or sometimes appreciable result or a final result. Honestly, we've got a situation in another township in the south end of the county. It's been going on for literally years. We finally had a trial, and we got a determination from the judge the person's in violation and directed to clean up. And then if the person doesn't, and this just happened in the last few months, if the person doesn't clean up, well, what do? Well, your remedy is to hold them in contempt of court, because they're in violation. This is in Supreme Court. They're in violation of a court order. So your remedy is to hold them in contempt, which means you put them in jail. So that's your remedy. There's been discussion at various times, can we go on the property and remove the junk? Those sorts of, first of all, we don't have any legal authority to do so, but even if with the cooperation of the owner, they can be somewhat problematic. So, just to back up, you can bring a justice court proceeding, and years ago, that's what we did with respect to Mr. Morgan's property. Not to any great satisfaction. You have a little bit bigger clout, in my opinion, if you bring a Supreme Court proceeding. But again, ultimately, if you are successful, and I would expect that you would be, but you need to be prepared to pursue it to the point of, putting someone in jail if they do not follow a court order, and that's ultimately your remedy. So the notices went out the end of, I think they're actually dated March 28. The 30 days will be up April 27, the 1st of May. You could be in a position to bring an application. And remember too, you bring the application Supreme Court, you don't get a result in the next month. It can take some time.
Right.
So, you can
Just leverage.
proceed through the summer, and sure, you hope that by doing that, you cause the people involved to take action. That's really what you're doing it for.
Would we need a motion for you to go further in this?
Yeah. Yeah, you need to authorize the commencement of the proceeding.
Okay. Well, either we accept what's happening at that location, what Rick just described.
I just want to excuse
Yeah,
one.
go ahead.
I think it's gonna get worse because I got a phone call from Ed Benedict to bring you up to snuff. He wants to buy a bunch of these old tractor trailers. He wants to bring them in there and use them as sheds. Let the people put their stuff in there, and I told him no. So, and if that happens, then now we're really into a backyard type
Mhm.
environment. So, it's just totally crazy. It doesn't get any worse. I mean, it gets worse. It doesn't get any better with this guy.
Mhm.
And I don't know what else we can do with him. But unsafe conditions isn't what we want. It goes against all of our homeowners and policies. On the ISO, when we fill out an ISO for the town of Preble every year, they want to know. But that there is, you guys help me with that, the fire department. And that kind of gives everybody a rating on homeowners. It's like, is the town of Preble a risk or isn't it a risk? It's like a driving record. And we try to keep that down, so our residents benefit from that. And if you're gonna have some people come in here renting and have unsafe conditions, it's gonna hurt all of us.
Mhm. Thanks, Rick. Okay, so like I was saying, either we accept the conditions as they are and probably get worse, or we spend some money and we continue the legal procedure that Don Armstrong just
How about the old
explained to us.
store up there? How about the old store up there?
The old store, the old Morgan store.
Yeah.
I gave him 30 days. He has a permit to get that cleaned up and do the demo on that. His permit is now at the end of his year.
That's where the backhoe and all that stuff is.
Yep. And he's gonna move that. I give him 30 days. He's not gonna be able to renew nothing until it's done. But he promised me. What's his name? Sparky or something?
I don't know.
Okay, so
It's not a very nice looking sight when you come up past your house.
no, it
Meet
isn't.
the corner there.
The same thing
Jeepers
on
creepers.
81 or 281 with a trailer park. I mean, it's,
I'll make something
you're
like
renting
that. I
the
don't know.
town and
Pile of junk all over.
That gentleman that bought the old Morgan store, I feel we can work with him. I don't think we need to invest any money in him.
Mhm.
Just give me a little bit more time and we'll get it. It's a lot better than it was.
Yep.
Uh,
got half of it down,
And
or a third
so
of it.
we're,
Took it to another spot, right?
his name's Sparky for a certain reason,
Yeah.
Not too fast.
Not too fast, right?
Okay, so I think the most egregious point that has come up is Ed Benedict's property. And so we need to make a motion to continue legal proceedings that Don has started.
I'll make a motion that we give Don permission to continue the legal options on the Ed Benedict trailer park.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay, Rick,
Thank you.
you're welcome. You have the support of the town board behind everything that you do, so,
Well,
just
I
want
just
to
want to let you know, and I'll keep in touch with you, what's going on, because you know what happens. He starts coming to these meetings
Mhm.
and he starts blowing smoke to you.
Yeah, promise.
And promise, and then.
Right.
Then we get soft. We can't be soft this time. We gotta be a little bit firm.
Right.
It's the benefit of those women and children that have to live in
Yeah,
those.
Can't have a
unsafe
kid
conditions.
getting hit by a rat.
Mhm. Thanks for coming tonight, Rick.
Thank you for having me.
We received $741.92 from USPS for postal rent office space. We received $1,771.89 from Northeast Transformers. And next on new business, we want to talk about Amnesty Day. Like I was saying earlier, I called Don Boyden on Sunday night, and he told me that they will be having an Amnesty weekend, and it will be the weekend after Mother's Day. And so what day is Mother's Day? Is it the first Sunday? The 6th? Okay.
I think so.
Yeah. So he said that they will have the Amnesty Day, and there was some kind of question as to whether the county would do that or not because of their budget, but they decided to go ahead and do it. And so
I don't have a problem spending money.
Add to that if, and that's what it is explanation is the county gives us amnesty on the first 30 tons,
Mhm.
take to the landfill.
Right.
The town board in the past, since they put that in, has picked up the other, whatever we go over
Balance.
that.
Mhm.
It's money in the budget, so
Mm-hmm.
like I say, if the county legislature approves it in totality, it'd be Friday, May 11th and Saturday, May 12th
Right.
here.
And they're supposed to approve that tomorrow night, right? At tomorrow night's
Okay.
meeting. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. You know, it'll officially come out.
Yeah, tomorrow's committee, and then at the end of the month, the Thursday, full legislature still has to approve it.
Okay.
So it's 2 steps.
2 steps. Okay.
It's
Okay. So just
got
watch
new
the.
legislator, so I don't know exactly
Right.
what the flavor is. But
So we'll just watch the news in the newspaper for confirmation on that. But we plan on doing an amnesty day. And Jeff and I even talked that if the county decided not to do it, the town would still consider doing it ourselves. So that's an option for the future. Yeah.
the best part about that is it would allow you to choose when to do it.
Right.
You always, I've got calls already, and then it snowed again, but as soon as the sun comes out and the grass shows, everybody calls. When's amnesty day?
Mm-hmm.
Traditionally, it's Mother's Day weekend because the county offers it the following week. And it's linked into not wanting to have piles of stuff laying around for any length of time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, we'll ride with the county, and someday that's gonna happen. I'm sure of that.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that coming. But we'll see.
Thanks, Jeff. All right, Jane, do you want to talk about the final budget amendments for 2017?
They're right here.
Okay. All right, this is something that Gina has sent to us. Final budget amendments for 2017. And these are just some of the movements of money that she makes to balance her books before she does the, well, it's supposed to be done by now, the annual report. But she's probably working on the annual report, and these are some amendments that she's making. So it's a standard procedure that she does, and we just need to make a motion to approve this.
Move we approve the final budget amendments for 2017.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried. Okay, website under new business. We have an issue right now where our website is not being maintained. It is being negligent, and we need somebody to work on it. Our current web provider has, I guess, found more profitable work than us, but she's not doing anything for us right now. So we really need to find another web designer or somebody to maintain our website. And Don, you have offered to step in on this?
Well, so I can help us kind of figure out how to navigate this a little bit, but just a little bit of, we need a little bit of guidance on this. So the kind of the expeditious thing to do would be to find a contractor who could take on the current website and make the adjustments that we need to get it fixed so that it operates correctly. And so that's primarily the capability to edit the front page so that notices of meetings and so forth are updated, and maintaining the calendar, and in particular the recreation calendar, so that people can reserve the pavilion.
Mm-hmm.
So we need, so that is probably just on an hourly contract basis, and I don't know if we need to go out to bid for that. I can't imagine it would be a lot of hours over the course of the next couple of months. Sue wasn't maintaining that much. There'll be some sort of learning curve, but again, it's not that complex of a website.
We didn't go out for bid when Sue Scott took this job.
Okay, fine.
She sort of pitched us, and we said, okay, that sounds good.
Okay.
And
And
we
then
went with her.
And then concurrently, we can put out an RFP for a replacement website. But by the time we get that done, we don't have time to get that done before we get the current website fixed. So
Right, we'll know if this new person is gonna work out or not. Too.
Well, yeah, the new person may or may not have the right
Right.
skill set to do what we want to do in the longer term. But it's kind of like hiring a carpenter and then getting an architect. So
Yeah.
we need to get the carpenter right now. because the roof is leaking.
Mhm.
So, do we need to do anything other than just,
You don't need to go to public bid, but we do have
A procurement policy.
procurement policy.
Mhm.
okay,
And if I don't have it memorized, but if we're at 1 or 2,000 or in that range, I think there's
Right.
you'd probably see that we're required to get a couple written proposals
Okay.
at most, something like that.
Okay.
But we can,
and then
It'd
do
be
we
a
have
lot.
to bring it back into the board or?
were you talking about the stopgap?
Yeah, exactly. The stop.
Well,
Purely
it
the
sounds
stopgap.
like that might be a little bit of maybe not an emergency, but a short-term need for an immediate fix. So
Exactly.
I think you could waive the strict
Mhm.
compliance there. I think in terms of finding a new website
Yeah, that's a
developer and
that's a
maintainer,
different
I think,
process.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah, no, I just meant in the short term guy. Yeah, because we can't really wait until the next board meeting
Mhm.
to begin to work on
Miss,
it.
miss out on too much stuff.
So
Yeah.
Don, would you be interested in finding somebody?
Yeah, I'll work on finding somebody.
Okay,
for
that
us.
would be great. That would be
Yeah.
great.
And we'll get that person identified, and then
Mhm.
I'll prepare something for the next board meeting that we can talk about for procuring the new website,
Mhm.
or the redevelopment of the website, and that's already in the budget for
Okay,
this year.
right,
Mhm.
right, it is.
Yep.
Okay, good. Thank you, Don. Unfinished business, we have the highway garage. We are, like Jeff had mentioned, he's moving things in, moving the equipment in. And garage is pretty much done. Well, all of our bid costs are finished. Our invoices are all paid. There's always touch-up stuff that will be going on for a while, like landscaping and things like that. But the work is done pretty much. And Paul Sheneman, he gave me this spreadsheet here. If you remember back in November, he estimated the cost of this building at being $1,025,000, almost $1,026,000, and we came in at $773,271. We were under budget by over $250,000, so that's really good. And people
Everybody be happy with that.
people around the town always ask me, how much is this building going to cost? And I always told them I didn't really know until we get our bids in. There's such a range that we just can't really tell. So fortunately, we had good bidders that came in. We had and they were all good. They did good work, right, Jeff? You were overseeing it. They all did good quality work. We have a beautiful building, and we're way under budget on it. And we did have to take a bridge loan to cover some of this, but I was just contacted on Friday by New York State. DASNY is what they're called. That's the grant organization. And so we have paperwork on that to continue the process. We have to send back a contract to them, and then we have to list our invoices for reimbursement. So that work is going to be done over the next few weeks. So we should be paid it back pretty soon on the money that we had to borrow. So our borrowing costs will be minimal, and in the end, we will own a new highway garage free and clear.
Well, and that grant was 175,000, right?
Right.
Yeah, so it's going to end up costing us 600,000 out of our pockets, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right. And
Good job.
so it's a successful project.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Jeff, any comment on it at all?
Well, we did strip that down. We were very nervous about getting over that million.
Mhm.
So I mean, we stripped a lot of the finished work out. Why you didn't see the trucks move inside quite as fast as everybody thought they should. We were doing inside prep work with our own people and in between plow runs and, lift trees down and like that. So, I mean, the flip side to that is we didn't get in quite as fast, but, if we can save that kind of money, I'm all for it.
Plus,
It's
it
a
gives you
process.
guys a little more ownership of it,
Yeah.
You do some of the work yourself.
Kevin Cock, I didn't measure how many feet of seams there are in that building. I don't know, probably 700 or 800 feet. And it 6 inches a minute, it took about 2.5 weeks of caulking the floors and putting
Yeah.
the backer rod in,
Mhm.
getting that
Well,
done.
We get it cheaper than them, so.
So, I mean, what you're saving is that prevailing wage rate of somebody doing that for, if they stayed at it 8 hours a day, it maybe been a week and a half of 2 guys. I don't know. But that's done. We did the painting ourselves. There's, some flooring that we pulled out at the office areas. It's just, it's concrete, and that's fine. Someday, if it's a budget, we'll put some flooring or like that in there. But right now we got
He gave me the tour the other day, and it's quite a building.
It is. It's a
Mhm,
beautiful
sure
building.
is.
Yeah, beautiful.
So I just want to give Jeff credit for helping the town save this kind of money and come under budget with all the work that he did on this and the supervision work that he did to make sure everybody was doing their job and making sure things were coming and going as they should. And for he and his 2 highway guys to help out. And also we had some volunteer help too, right?
we had a few.
Yeah.
Jay Curry and
Mhm.
a few others came in and did some painting. Jay's, that's what he does at SUNY Cortland, is paint.
Mhm.
I learned I hate painting, okay? And he showed me some tricks, and I don't hate it as much now. Once you learn the tricks and different kinds of paint and what to use where, as far as the semis and the satins, and whoa. But yeah, it's a learning curve, but it is a nice building, so it'll be there for long after I'm gone.
Right. Good. Okay, so project completed. And the packet from Albany, from Dasney, I did forward on to Don Armstrong for him to look at these contracts. As part of that was a form letter that Don would put on his letterhead and agree to how they formatted it and sign it and everything to say that he looked at the contracts and everything was okay, according to him and to the town. So I'll probably hear from you over the next week or so.
Couple
about
days.
that.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Next is the solar moratorium. We have a committee working on the solar moratorium, and they're still, the solar moratorium is in effect, but we have a committee working on new wording for the zoning code. That's to make it clear. So that's continuing. Does anybody have any comment on that at all?
What's the expectation for when they're going to have something for us to review?
I think they have a completed document right now.
Okay.
And you're going to talk to Amy about that. She has something that she can forward to you.
Okay.
I think I have it too.
Oh, okay.
You have it too? Okay. Okay. So things are progressing on the solar issue. At this time, I'd like to open up the meeting to public comment. If anybody has any comments or questions, Dan?
I've gotten a tour of the highway garage a couple of times, and it's just awesome.
Mhm.
I just can't express all the hard work that went into that. There's one little thing I want to comment about. It really shows up from the observatory when all the lights are on. So I'm wondering if it's possible to turn the lights off on observing nights.
I'm observing night
Yeah,
in the schedule.
it's usually the Friday and or Saturday of the new moon.
Write that down.
I'll give you a schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Schedule, Dan. We'll do what we can.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Dan.
What if it's cloudy?
Well, we don't do it.
Other.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Dan.
Anybody else with a question or comment?
Just a couple of things, and I know the room's full of joggers, so, June 2nd, the inaugural Cortland County Emergency Services is gonna run a 5K through the village of Homer. And what's gone on for years before that is it's morphed into started motorcycles, classic cars, minivans now, whatever. But it's the biggest fundraiser for the regional training center for fire, EMS, and police, and for the county's training center. Helps buy the props and the consumable type things for the center for Cortland County and other counties around also use that center. It's one of the premier center for this area of the state. And I just wanted to put a bug in people's ears to think about whether motorcycle, car, minivan, want to jog, but it's, I think it's $25. We just got a flyer the other day, but to put a plug in for that training center, I think people know how that morphed from being a body shop into a really awesome. It's got all the audio visuals. It's got, if anybody ever want to go down and tour it, we could do something like that. But it's also the backup 911 center. Dave, you get out there much too?
Not out there much. No, I'm
No.
in the main.
But I mean, if anything happened to our main 911 center, there's a backup center.
Yeah.
It's also used for during floods or weather events or like that. They have each, the sheriff would have a table, and FEMA would have a table with their own phones that plug into the wall that they kind of, wouldn't be a training center anymore, but an emergency center for the
Dispatch
county.
center, yep.
So it's, to see it go from, Portland Born Motors old body shop into what it is today, it's pretty neat. But, just think about it, even if you don't want to run or something, but help the center and help, it helps the Preble Fire Department. We go down there, where we have our county chief and fire advisory board meetings now. So that, and along with that, if you have a neighbor that's got a 18, 20-year-old, whatever, Preble Fire Department could really use some membership. 30, 40-year-old person, somebody that's, wants to help the community and wants to get back involved, because it's a crossroads, I think, in the fire service. We really need to try to bolster that up, or I'm not sure where things are going to be in 6-8 years. Thanks.
Thanks, Jeff. Anybody else? Comment or question about anything?
We want to discuss anything about Memorial Day or wait till next month?
Well, we can mention it. We can, yeah. We would probably take 2 board meetings to mention that. Memorial Day Parade, it's not on the agenda, but we can discuss it and follow it up next month. I do have a public speaker. I've got a keynote speaker. And Dave, you'll be taking care of ice cream?
Yeah.
Right? Who else did certain things? Did anybody? Linda, you did signs. Yes, you did signs for the cars.
Who does weather?
Weather?
Yeah.
Yeah, the most important thing.
Got my car. Obviously.
Right, we have your car. We would need cars. If you have an American-made car that's in good condition, we could always use your car and riders. And Dave, if there's anything that you see that you can help out with, just think about it, and you can let us know next month at the next meeting. So we'll just kind of introduce it like that, and we'll finalize it all.
A little seed.
Yep, next month we'll finalize it. Okay. We need a motion to pay the general fund vouchers.
Make a motion, pay general fund vouchers abstracts number 4, number 74 to 104, totaling $8,257.59.
Yeah.
And pay the capital project, building project abstracts number 4, numbers 105 to 106, totaling $666.66.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Just that right.
Now we need a motion to pay the highway fund vouchers.
I'll make a motion to pay the highway fund vouchers. Abstract number 4, numbers 17 to 27, totaling $6,170.10.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. We need a motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Meeting adjourned.
What the heck did that happen? 66 cents. So go getting ready to fire right up and go.